The Indianapolis Colts made their first two picks in the draft count, and Tyler Warren and JT Tuimoloau. And we're going to hear today from a couple of guys who spent years watching these two new Colts players. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right. Thanks for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. This is your daily podcast covering your Indianapolis Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am Jake Arthur of horseshoehuddle.com. And today we are talking about the Colts' first two picks in the draft, Penn State tight end Tyler Warren and Ohio State defensive end JT Tuimoloau. Now, when it comes to Warren, this is a move that people have been anticipating for months. The tight end position was, the spot where the cupboard was most bare for the Colts, and it's really been that way for quite some time. You look back to really Dallas Clark is the last time that the Colts had a tight end who could block and catch and was explosive and really caused defensive coordinators to kind of stay up game planning for them. You had Jack Doyle, who made a couple Pro Bowls. Really good blocker on the move, was really good at catching everything and moving the chains, but not really explosive. Eric Ebron, he was explosive, big-time playmaker in the passing game, but not a guy you're going to trust to block. Tyler Warren does it all. He never has to leave the field. He can do pretty much anything that Shane Steichen is going to cook up for him to do. But it almost didn't happen. It was maybe a little worrisome there at the beginning. So you look at pick 10 and Colston Loveland goes off the board to the Bears, which means they were looking at a tight end. So Loveland probably fits with the Bears a little bit more considering they already have Cole Kmet. But then, Loveland goes off the board and you immediately start thinking, is the team going to jump ahead of the Colts to get Tyler Warren? So they stood firm. He was able to get there to them at pick 14, and the rest is history now. So this is a rare opportunity for the Colts to get a player. We've seen some elite offensive playmakers from them before, but again, it's been quite some time since it's been at the tight end position. You look at what he did in college, 104 catches for 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. As a receiver, that's great. You say, I'll take that all day. But then you dig further, 26 carries for 218 yards and 4 touchdowns. And, he threw the ball 6 times as well for 35 yards and another touchdown. So Penn State trusted this guy to do everything, things you don't see tight ends do ever. I can't really think of a time that a tight end in the NFL did that much for a team. I don't think he's going to be doing things to that degree for the Colts, but I definitely think Shane Steichen is going to think of a thing or two for him to do for sure. So we're going to go ahead here in a moment and talk to Zach Seyko of the Locked On Nittany Lions podcast, who put together a little overview of Warren as a player and what a team might be getting in him coming into the draft.
If you want that elite, all-pro caliber tight end in your offense, you take Penn State's Tyler Warren. My name is Zach Seyko, and I'm the host of Locked On Nittany Lions. Tyler Warren is the complete player. He literally can do it all. In Penn State's offense, he was catching passes. He was running the football. He was taking snaps at quarterback. He was making the snaps. He would snap the football at center and go run a route after that and even scored a touchdown on that play. You can line up Tyler Warren anywhere on the football field and he will be productive. He can take over games. That is what you are getting in Tyler Warren if you are an NFL franchise. This guy can be the focal point in your offense. He can complement what your system does well. Either way, you are going to get somebody that puts the team first, checks off every single box, and can do it all as a complete tight end. Blocking, catching, anything that you ask him to, Tyler Warren will do it, and he is worth a top 10 pick in this year's NFL draft. For more coverage around Penn State football and other Penn State sports, subscribe to Locked On Nittany Lions on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so when it comes to Warren on the Colts, again, it's hard to project a rookie to have that sort of volume of involvement, but at the same time, you're looking at a guy who I think is going to be an immediate starter for them. The Colts love to use 2 tight ends. It's been very role-based for them because they haven't had that guy that can handle everything. But I think Tyler Warren is going to be the first option, obviously, at tight end. I do think you're going to see plenty of Mo Alley Cox still, and to some degree, Drew Ogletree. I think that's probably the only three you're really ever going to see. Will Mallory, if he makes the roster, might only scratch the field if there's an injury ahead of him. I just don't really see much involvement in a guy that's only a pass catcher. But with Warren, I think the Colts are going to obviously look for him to be a security blanket for whatever quarterback it is, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, which is going to give the quarterback a couple quick passing options with Warren, with Josh Downs. You could probably lump Michael Pittman in there together as well to some degree. And, they've got a couple guys that can catch the ball in the backfield now as well. DJ Giddens, Khalil Herbert, you could, Jonathan Taylor to some extent as well. So adding Warren into this, especially a guy that can make things happen after the catch, it's going to turn 2-3 yard plays into 7, 8, 9 yard plays, So this is incredibly valuable, I think, in establishing some rhythm in the passing game and just getting the offense to move consistently in some manner. Because the running game, I think we were all pretty confident in that last year, but the passing game, you never knew how it was going to look. Whether it was Flacco or Richardson, it was very boom or bust. It was either going to be explosive plays or probably nothing. And while I still think there's going to be perhaps some issues at the quarterback position, I think having a guy like Warren out there, again, to blend in with Downs and Pittman is definitely going to help smooth out some of those edges. So maybe the lows won't be quite as severe. So, great move by the Colts. Obviously, the one we had all been kind of seeing coming all along. But yeah, we've got a whole offseason to talk about that. And who knows, maybe they make another move or two at the tight end position before the offseason is up. So coming up, guys, here in a moment, we're going to talk about the Colts' second-round pick, defensive end JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. The NBA playoffs are here. The Pacers have taken care of the Bucks, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on all of the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you're going to get $250 back in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. I personally love how FanDuel makes betting super easy, whether it's picking the Pacers to win their playoff matchups or diving into player props. You can bet on three-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel's got so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine all of those live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, so the Colts used their second-round pick on a defensive lineman, which that was no surprise at all. We kind of figured it would be a trench-heavy draft for them. So they go defensive end, and there had been a couple guys picked ahead of them that maybe they missed out on. Donovan Ezeraku made a ton of sense for them, but he got picked right ahead of them. So JT Tuimoloau, not a bad consolation prize. Not the same style of defensive end as Donovan Ezeraku, but a guy that they can use for sure, nonetheless. So you look at him, this is a guy completely, totally productive in college, which I think when you're getting a defensive end, they have to have production. In the past, we've seen the Colts get so many traitsy guys who don't have the production, they don't finish this or that. And I think Tuimoloau, from a fan perspective, from some of what I've seen, is a victim of past drafts by Ballard, because Ballard has widely struck out on defensive ends. He's drafted several guys that just have not become stars. They've just been fine. And you look at guys with college production, and they tend to work out better than the ones before. It's way too early to judge Laiatu Latu, the first-round pick from last year. But I think he had a better first year than we've seen a lot of Colts rookie defensive ends have. So I'm going to project him to make a jump. And then Tuimoloau, this is a guy with a pretty high floor, pretty safe pick. He's strong and stout, very good run defender already, and he's coming along as a pass rusher as well. Last year, he had 61 tackles, including 22 for loss, which is huge. I can't really stress how big of a number that is. along with 12.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 pass breakups. And over a 4-year span, 45 tackles for loss, 23.5 sacks. This guy, 3 years running, has been named first team All Big Ten. So again, very productive. The accolades are there. He was a high recruit for Ohio State, one of their biggest defensive lineman recruits in quite some time, and he lived up to the hype. So we're going to go here for a moment to a guy who has been watching him for a long time. That's Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes.
JT Tuimoloau has the size, the length, and the toughness to play up or down in a hybrid system in the NFL. What is up, guys? My name is Jay Stevens, the host of Locked On Buckeyes. Standing at 6'4", 265 pounds. Tuimoloau's toughness shows up on the field in power and force. It is definitely a force in defending the run, which is where he's primarily going to excel at the next level. He is a pass rusher that can make some noise in the Buckeyes playoff push where they won the national championship. He had 6.5 sacks in those 4 games where he's primarily a power rusher. He does have a spin move and some other tricks in his bag, but his power rush moves, that works very well for him, but also translates and helps him in stuffing the run as well. JT Tuimoloau was a phenomenal Buckeye, and I have no doubt he'll be a great day one impact player in the NFL.
All right, so when we look at Tuimoloau with the Colts, obviously it's a little bit of a crowded defensive end room. You know Kwity Paye is going to be a starter. You think Laiatu is probably going to be one as well. They have Samson Ebukam coming back from an Achilles injury last year. They really like him. Tyquan Lewis is there as well. Isaiah Land is there, but I think now he's not got enough equity with the team to where he's going to really chip into the snaps of, Latu and Tuimoloau necessarily. But I think it would be short-sighted for the Colts to really throw a ton of snaps at the direction of like Lewis and Ebukam at the expense of guys like Latu and Tuimoloau. Now, they are going to probably be different positions. We'll have to see what it looks like under Lou Anarumo. But Latu much more of the pass rushing type, where Tuimoloau is going to be like your strong side end, more of a competitor with like Kwity Paye and Tyquan Lewis. So I just think those older guys who are entering their final years of their contracts, especially guys who've been banged up like Lewis and Ebukam, you don't want to feed them too many snaps again and keep Tuimoloau off the field. Same can be said with Latu. When I look at Tuimoloau, I see a bigger, longer, probably stronger Kwity Paye. Now, Paye is probably a bit more bendy, a little more athletic of a player, but Tuimoloau is I think his floor gives you what you've been given by Kwity Paye the last few years, where you're going to get a solid number of tackles and run stuffs and about seven or 8 sacks or so. That's about what Kwity Paye has given you. I think that is a safe projection for Tuimoloau within the first couple years, but I do think he's capable of more. One of those guys that can convert speed to power and is still ascending as a pass rusher. Again, he has some pass rush moves, but he's not super bendy. He's not that guy that's necessarily going to run the arc. But, I learned my lesson last year with a guy like Jared Verse, where you kind of count on those guys. And we saw in the college football playoff last year where he is hitting his second year and kind of figuring things out. So I definitely love the projection for Tuimoloau moving forward. Year one, I mean, there's a lot of snaps to fill because Dayo Odengbo led the team in snaps among the defensive linemen. I do think he should see at least like 25 snaps a game, I would imagine. I don't think he's going to be a starter because Kwity Paye is obviously going to be one. I don't think the Colts want to mess with that. Hopefully you see Laiatu as another. I just don't think the Colts are going to shoo away Tyquan Lewis and Samson Ebukam so quickly. With that said, I do hope they give him plenty of work. I would love to see at least 20, 25 snaps for Tuimoloau at minimum to see what he could do and to keep developing, getting him those NFL game reps to kind of take him to the next level. So that is what we've got for you today, guys. Here in a moment, we'll close you out. But first, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. The cost of being alive is just truly exhausting. But that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app either. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place so that you can stop just managing your money and actually start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. I've now cut back on things like gas for my car and paying my mortgage, all so that I can eat as much Chipotle as I want. But instead of juggling multiple apps, you can also use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off of your first year. All right, guys, if you want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get the inside scoop, then follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, please follow at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at Zach Hicks 2 on Twitter. We're also on TikTok and Instagram as well. Also, please be sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. We would love those ratings and reviews as well. And with that, you guys have a great next few hours, because we are going to be back with you just in a little bit.